Hello, everyone. I'm Sibyl Starr, and I'm here today with a new video series. This is the first in the series, and the series is called Meet Your Star Nation Relatives. And today we're going to meet the Arcturians. And as part of the presentation today, I'll also be sharing why this is important and why it's important to meet our Star Nation relatives and who the Arcturians are. At least what I have learned so far, which I know is just the tip of the iceberg. We also will look at if you might be an Arcturian Starseed, someone who has a Star Nation lineage of Arcturus. And also at the end, I'm going to be sharing something that I do called Galactic Astrology, which can help you discover your own Starseed origin. All right, so let's begin. And I just want to say also, I've just learned this technology, so hopefully all will go smoothly. And I know it will get better as time goes on. But anyway, this is my first video presentation of a PowerPoint presentation. All right, anyway, so let's get going. So here we are. Meet your Star Nation relatives, the Arcturians. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to share, why it's so important that we do, because of the big shift in consciousness that is happening now. So as we are in the ascension process known as the Great Shift, our consciousness is opening and expanding. And with that comes a remembering. And a remembering that we are multidimensional beings having an experience of separation from source. But the true reality is that we have never left source. It is just our experience, and it is that of being an aspect or a fractal of the one. But part of the 3D reality experience was to forget. But now, as this shift is beginning and occurring, it is a time of remembering who we are, and that we are multidimensional beings having experiences in different realities and dimensions, and that there really is no past or present, but only now, but in different timelines. And as we remember who we are, we start to become whole again. It is part of the ascension process, remembering this. And it's also that we have families in other star nations, as well as a starseed lineage. It's like, we may know our ancestral lineage here on Mother Earth. We may be French or we may be English, as far back as we know. But of course, we know it even goes back either further than that. It's just kind of like how far will our memory take us? Okay. And to also know there has been a quarantine on Earth that has prevented our Star Nation relatives from having direct contact with us for quite a while. My understanding is they used to have a lot of direct contact before this quarantine was set in place. And the quarantine was set in place because there were some really super negative energies that got into the Earth field here, the Earth energetic field, and they needed to be contained. I mean, that is one explanation. I also feel like that it was part of the growth experience that we went into deeper levels of sleep and deeper levels of separation so that we could then start to wake up and remember who we are. Okay. But the quarantine has been lifted, and it is now time to make relations once again with our galactic family, our cosmic cousins. Our Star Nation relatives need us to remember them, as they are here to help us with this shift in consciousness here on Mother Earth as we rejoin the cosmic collective. And Bashar, and I don't know if you're familiar with Bashar, but he is someone named Daryl Anka channels him, and he says he's an Essiani from the future. He is Daryl Anka's future self as a hybrid being. Anyway, Bashar says that 2023 is the year that will begin a 10-year open contact window, and that we must elevate our own consciousness so we can meet our star nation relatives in their resonant field, as 3D is very difficult for many of the higher frequency beings to manifest in. And it is said we can meet these star beings in the same dimension as the magical beings, such as fairies and elves and etc. But today we're going to meet the Arcturians. But in the next few months, we'll be meeting many other Star Nation relatives, such as the Sirians, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, and many more. So Arcturus is a large red star. We're going to begin our study of Arcturus. And so Arcturus is a large red star that is 25.4 times the size of our sun. Yeah, I don't know if you can see my cursor, of course, but there's our sun and there's Arcturus. It is 170 times more luminous than the sun. It is the fourth brightest star in the sky and the brightest star in the northern hemisphere. It is located around 40 light years away from Earth. I read somewhere else, they said 37. So let's say between 37 and 40. All right. So where is Arcturus? Okay, so Arcturus is in the Bootes constellation here. Here's Arcturus, and you can always find, let me move myself up here. Okay. You can always find Arcturus if you can find the Big Dipper, also known as Ursa Major. Here is Ursa Major, and you follow the handle of the Big Dipper, and it takes you right down to Arcturus right here. Okay. In some latitudes, Arcturus is considered a circumpolar star, meaning that it is visible every night of the year, regardless of the time of year. Okay. Okay, and so Arcturus, here's another image, another great image. Here's Bootes, and here's Arcturus. Like I said, Arcturus is a bright orange star, red orange star, and you just follow the handle of the Big Dipper, and it takes you right to Arcturus. Okay, and of course, the Big Dipper changes its position. It really travels around the pole. It just changes its position. Okay. All right, but Arcturus is in alignment with the sun from October 15th to 20th in 2023. The zodiac degree of Arcturus is 24 degrees, 33 minutes of Libra. And due to the precession of the equinoxes, the degree of the fixed stars, of which Arcturus is called a fixed star, moves 1 degree every 72 years. So let's say 72 years ago, Arcturus would have been measured or calculated to be at 23 degrees, 33 minutes of Libra. Okay, it's just simply a way of measuring our relationship to the star, from Earth to the stars. Okay, and so here's a little history of Arcturus. And here is Arcturus right here. This is an image taken from my stellarium. And here is the image of Arcturus, and here, or Bootes, not Arcturus. This is the image of Bootes, and here is Arcturus. And here is the Great Bear. You can see the Big Dipper here. That's actually the tail. What we call the handle is actually the tail. There's several other stars in the Great Bear. Anyway, Arcturus is a Greek name meaning guardian of the bear, and Arcturus appears to be chasing the Great Bear, also known as Ursa Major, and the Big Dipper around the heavens. Ursa Major, or the Great Bear, is one of the symbols of the Great Mother. And Ursa Major is a circumpolar star that never sets. And I feel like what it symbolizes is saying that the Great Mother is always there to protect us like a mama bear. And Arcturus is her guardian in the sky. Okay, here's some mythology of Arcturus, and this comes from Bernadette Brady. The Athenians saw Arcturus as a leader whose hunter-gatherer people had fallen on hard times. And to help them, he invented the plow. He is holding I really should say this. This is the mythology of Bootis, but Arcturus is the brightest star. But they saw Arcturus as the leader. Okay, and the constellation of Bootis, he is holding a weapon and is hunting dogs as well as a tool for farming. Arcturus symbolizes the transition from nomadic hunter-gatherer to herder, farmer, villager. He symbolizes a shift in consciousness that was needed. And I feel like the Arcturian Star Nation may have been around and helped humanity at that time to make that shift. That's why the mythology is as it is, okay? And the principle of Arcturus is one who leads the way, one who has the vision or spirit to take the first step. Okay, and here's some of the astrology of Arcturus. So when you have planets within a 3-degree conjunction of Arcturus, within 3 degrees of Arcturus, we call that conjunct, or the energy is merged with Arcturus. And so here's some of the meanings. This comes from Bernadette Brady. And we could say this as well of an opposition, of a conjunction or an opposition, but a conjunction is always more powerful. This is a pathfinder, to break new ground and be willing to explore unheard of options. This is its connection to the sun. Sorry, I should have said that. The sun is a pathfinder to break new ground and be willing to explore unheard of options. So if your sun, I would say, when we're considering the precession of the equinoxes, is anywhere from around 21 degrees of Libra to around 27 degrees of Libra, you might have a strong connection with Arcturus. Okay, the moon, if your moon is at those same degrees, is concerned with health and others, the health of others, physical, emotional, or spiritual, and wanting people to have a better lifestyle. And then if your ascendant is those same degrees, anywhere from around 21 to 27 degrees of Libra, it could be a life which embodies a different view, to have the courage to follow what one sees as the alternative or more fruitful path, a pathfinder and way shower for others. Like I said, these are the interpretations from Bernadette Brady. And to just bring in something personal, my ascendant is conjunct Arcturus. And I've always felt like this was something I really resonated with as far as her description of the ascendant. All right. Now we're going to talk about the Arcturian Star Nation, okay? Because they are beings from Arcturus, and apparently, my understanding is they have planets that orbit around Arcturus, and some of them are not in even the 3D realm; that they are in higher dimensional realms, so they're not accessible through our technology. All right, but they are this is what I have learned. They're non-physical, 5th to 9th dimensional beings. Edgar Cayce says they are the most advanced civilization in our galaxy. They exist in a group soul consciousness, and that group soul consciousness is that of unconditional love. Lisa Royal Holt, who is another wonderful channel, which I'll be sharing more of her material in with the Sirians and the Pleiadians. She says the Arcturians are like the broth in the cosmic soup. It is that unconditional love that we are actually swimming in. And the Arcturians, their consciousness is completely aligned with that. They have learned to master their emotions and live in a state of inner peace. Arcturians are emotionally and mentally advanced and were intended to be the spiritual shamans and healers for humanity. They do not eat food, as they live on something called liquid light as their fuel. They communicate telepathically. Those who've actually, had encounters with the physical beings say that their noses are small, their mouth is very small, because they don't actually use their mouth to communicate or to eat. Okay, they are protectors of the higher consciousness of the Milky Way. They often manifest to human beings as blue beings or angels, although some see them as violet or human-like with bluish skin. ancient literature says that blue beings, this actually came from Matthias de Stefano, from he's a spiritual teacher. Okay. Anyway, who has memory of past lives, really strong, vivid, clear memories. And he had interactions with Arcturians. And he said they were blue beings who came from the sky, who helped humanity evolve. And Krishna and Osiris were both blue beings. Okay. They do not manifest in form frequently because the third dimension is hard for them. They are known to be cosmic midwives and assist with helping souls in and out of this reality. Some say it is the bright light of the Arcturians that we first meet when we leave this life. It is they, some also say it is they who help us with our life review and choices for our next life. The Arcturians say they are responsible for the human experiment here on Mother Earth and are deeply committed to our evolution. And some say it is the Arcturians who are actually our guardian angels. So each of us have a deep connection to them and can call on them anytime for help. Now, like as I said, the Arcturians exist in a group consciousness, and they say they will work with anyone who wants to evolve their consciousness. You do not need to be an Arcturian Starseed. Ask for their help. And they also say, even if you're not an Arcturian Starseed, if you start working with them, that may be the door that is opening for you next. Okay. Anyway, ask them to come into your presence through an energy transmission. I do this a lot, and it really opens my heart and lifts my spirits in just a really big way. They are here in large numbers, helping with the ascension process on Mother Earth. And there are some in starships. The one that I'm most familiar with say they are actually, their starship is in the Jupiter corner, but they can telepathically communicate with us from anywhere. Okay. And they can visit us in higher dimensions. They also say they take us aboard their starships during our dream time with our permission for teaching energetic upgrades and healing. They want us to know that fear is a 3D construct and does not exist in other higher frequency dimensions. Okay. This particular message came from those who are in the 5th dimensional realms. The Arcturians are working with us on an individual level, but also on a global level. They are a group consciousness and work with groups in a very profound way to help raise the consciousness here to assist Mother Earth and humanity in her ascension process. They are deeply connected to Mother Earth and are very concerned about her health and well-being. And one of the things that I have heard them talk about is how they are so concerned about nuclear power, not only as a weapon, but as a form of energy. They say we must not use it because it is so dangerous. And I just recently heard Robert Kennedy Jr. talk about this and about how nuclear power plants cannot get insurance. No, Lloyd's of London, no one will insure them. And when you think of some of the accidents that has happened, and one is Fukushima, that is still spewing radioactive material into our oceans, into our water. So, you know, it is very dangerous. It's important to take notice. Okay. Okay. Arcturians live in the oneness of source with all beings. All beings are one. One with all beings as one. And they want us to understand that we are source energy. And when we do, we evolve our consciousness for the greater reality. They have a very powerful Stargate from this reality to other dimensions and other realities. And other star beings must use their Stargate to come into this reality. The Arcturians tell us that we have a galactic and a star heritage. And when we believe this is when we will actually activate our own star seed, okay, that seed of divinity within us. It is our star seed is our galactic consciousness, which allows us to remember our past and parallel lives as star beings. When we do, we will be able to connect with other starseeds and remember our soul mission here on Earth. The Arcturians want us to work together in groups to raise the consciousness on Mother Earth to create critical mass. A group that is working with the collective consciousness of Arcturus is the Group of 40, which was created by the Arcturian channel David L. Miller. He has some wonderful books out there calling Connecting with the Arcturians. And they also have some videos. And before I found David L. Miller, I read Dr. Norma Milosevic's book called We the Arcturians. There's some wonderful channeled material out there from them. Okay. All right, so now let's go on to what is a starseed, and could you be one? A starseed is someone who has lived in other star systems prior to this life on Earth, or in some cases, a parallel life in another dimension. And as we are now remembering that we are multidimensional beings, part of our ascension process is to become whole again and remember and integrate these aspects of our being. Starseeds do have a star system that is their lineage or starseed family and carry certain starseed markings. As we remember, and I call it our cosmic DNA, okay? As we remember our lineage, we call our star families to us, which helps us remember our soul mission and the spark of divinity that we each carry. So here are some traits of an Arcturian starseed. Well, first off, there's a much higher number of Arcturian starseeds incarnating now that incarnate at significant times, such as now, with the great shift that is happening. Arcturian starseeds are often very aware from a very early age. They are here on a mission. They are passionate about being in service. They're passionate about all things metaphysical, such as sacred geometry, dreams, numerology, anything on the metaphysical realm and the quantum realm as well, the science and spirituality realm. They feel drawn to the night sky. Astrology and extraterrestrial life forms hold fascination. They feel detached from social status. Social status just means nothing to the Arcturian starseeds. They're interested in ancient civilizations, enjoy scientific or philosophical discussions. They have strong, vivid memories, have strong opinions, very empathetic, and may have hidden psychic gifts such as clairvoyance and clairaudience. Arcturian starseeds are often good at planning and may be drawn to architecture or design. Arcturians are persons of their word. They can be organized and feel stressed when things are left to chance. Arcturians are often on the blue and or violet ray, okay? Ideas flow with ease. An Arcturian believe in a better future and have a generally optimistic outlook on life. Arcturians are great communicators, writers, and visionaries. They are often channelers and psychics and can be very advanced technologically. They may be inventors of technology that aligns with nature and well-being of humanity. And this next piece came from Debbie Solaris. She did a little workshop or a seminar, not a workshop. She presented a seminar on the different health issues the different starseeds may encounter when they incarnate physically. And this is what she says about the Arcturians, that they may struggle with anxiety early in life because they are used to being connected to the collective and feel separated here on Earth. They may have thyroid and endocrine issues, need a more plant-based diet, but gluten-free and with chicken and fish. Okay. So I just want to close my Arcturus session with anyone with significant Arcturus in their birth chart has a strong vibration of unconditional love, great wisdom, and a strong desire to be of service to humanity and the earth. There are many starseeds from Arcturus incarnated on Earth at this time to restore balance and harmony during this transformational time. And this came from Julia Balaz, who is the creator of Galactic Astrology, which I'm going to be sharing in the next slide. So could you be an Arcturus starseed? Well, let's find out. Okay, so this is what is called galactic astrology. I'm going to see if I can move myself down here. Okay, so you can see it a little better. All right, so what we do with galactic astrology is we look at the natal birth chart. So we have, now I'm just sharing mine. This is my natal birth chart, okay? And over here is this fixed stars that associate or that are associated with my different planetary placements. Okay, so I feel like the birth chart shows our cosmic DNA or imprinting, and it shows the planets that are associated with fixed stars that we have come to understand have planets and have star nations. And there's we know there's a multitude of star nations out in our Milky Way galaxy, but there are many that have actually been involved with Earth and involved in humanity's evolution of consciousness, and with Mother Earth and her evolution of consciousness as well. And so these are the ones that are mainly here. There, I think they said somewhere between, I think 37 star nations have been really involved with us, and 22 of them really in a strong way. So anyway, this is one lens to discover your star nation lineage. And let me just kind of show you some of mine here. So I told you I had Arcturus conjunct my ascendant. So you can see it right here. It's also opposite the Andromeda galaxy. That's kind of a stargate there. I have these first boxes are usually either conjunctions or oppositions. They're the most prominent. So you can see I have a few here. I've got Altair, I've got Lyra, what else? Hydra, Regulus. Anyway, I've got a bunch of different ones. But anyway, so when I do a galactic reading, I kind of put these together to make sense of them, to what is it trying to say, just kind of like with the chart. What is the message of this? Okay, all right. So, and I feel like it's as well, it shows us our cosmic ancestry, as well as which of the star nations are most present in our lives right now. Because I feel like any star nations that are in aspect to the sun, the moon, or the ascendant, this is kind of very prominent in our consciousness right now. And it may or may not be our actual star lineage. So I'm really often bringing in both in a really strong way now. The star lineage, and also what is really present in your life right now, who's trying to work through you in some way. All right, so anyway, so if you're interested in having a galactic star reading, you can contact me at www.sybylstar.com. And so I just say blessings to all. Let's see, I'm going to stop this here. There we go. Yes, so that's my presentation on the Arcturus Star Nation. There will be more to come. Next month, I'm going to be doing Sirius. I'm trying to do this different star nations that are aligned with the sun. I started with Arcturus, though, because of my own personal connection. So anyway, wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful life journey, and namaste. Blessings to all.